welcome to We Don't Know.
Yeah, where that is the only thing we do know.
Is that we don't know.
Yeah, so grateful to be joining with all of you. This is coming from a mutual calling or want for collaboration, and so we're so excited to have you join with us.
So how do we go with innocence from this moment forward into a vast new world? And in that innocence, how do we relate to the world that's around us?
Yeah, and I think, one of the things that's been so great about the we don't know statement, we're not saying no, but also we don't know. I mean, we even came on to this live with, we don't know what we're going to talk about. We haven't, that's the one place where it's like maybe the we don't know came in, but it did provide this level of innocence and this level of curiosity. Hi, Bree, good to see you. This innocence and this curiosity that's like, oh, this could turn into whatever, and there's no set expectations or all these demands of exactly what it's supposed to look like or how it's supposed to go. We don't know.
And we don't know where this relationship's going. And by the way we're doing this is that today's a new moon.
Yes.
So would you like to go forward for the next lunar cycle?
Yes, I would like to go forward.
All right, so
we're not saying no.
What we're doing is we're giving an opportunity for growth, and in every relationship or connection, let's call it a connection rather than a relationship, because we're moving beyond relationship in the way that we've defined relationship and moving more into a connection. So if we have connections and we're a part of an evolving universe, it's always changing, it's always growing. Matthew alluded to this, it's like the conditioning that we received is a gift, right? And so we're breaking from the conditioning. We're seeing a mass break from conditioning now, and it's like, okay, now I don't know what the future holds for us. But if we lock it into a story or some idea of an antiquated marriage or some kind of relationship, an old paradigm, then all we've done is we've taken the energy that we have and we've locked it somewhere, and we've limited it. So it's
we've
like
tied it to the past.
Right.
Tied it to the past because that's how we've always done it in the past.
That's right. And so
we want something new.
We're exploring, how does this work? So we are in the lunar cycle, and this is a new moon today, and so we know that we're committed for the next lunar cycle. We know that we're going to be together for 28 days, and we're going to commit to that. We're going to absolutely be present. We're going to be transparent. We're going to communicate needs, wants, desires, insecurities, all of those things. And we're going to listen. That's part of the communication from the heart. Really, really practice conscious awareness in the way that we communicate and love. And then as we get towards the end of the lunar cycle, a new perspective comes in, and we will know very clearly, and if both of us want to go forward, wow, it's just like we were always going forward. But if one of us or both of us come to a new perspective of, this was a lot of fun. We've agreed on the onset that that's a place to naturally break. And it might be a 1 month break, and it might be a beyond 1 month break. We don't know. We don't know.
Well, and that's the beauty of it, is that I think so often we get so wrapped up in these ideas of the future or these expectations, and so often in relationships. See, I'm trying to read it on
Angie.
here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, Angie. And then also Barbara said, in improvisational theater, the first rule is to never say no, because when you say no, you stop the movement of the story. And that's what all of us are
That's
in.
beautiful,
We're in
Barbara.
a story.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that example.
How do we love with no story? That's really what we're exploring here. And we don't know how it goes, except that it happens.
Yeah, except that it happens. And then also, I mean, I think so often what can happen when people, come into relating or to a new connection is we're trying to see how well that person matches up to our fantasy of a perceived future, right? So when we add the idea of perceived future, which is going to look different for everybody's story. Some people are going to be like, marriage is an outcome I want. Children is an outcome I want. A certain religion, I can only end up in a long-term relationship with someone in a certain religious ideology, or insert your stories here. We have these fantasies of the future, and we're just basically doing a roll cast of like, hey, how much do I think you're willing to change, and how close are you to my idea of a fantasy for the future, and it can create so many expectations and so many grievances. And the grievance is that they're not matching up with our story, and the story existed before they did. So how do we actually get to know how to love a person for who they are and where they're at if we're constantly comparing them to this perceived idea of a perfect future?
So what you're saying is love me as I am.
Yeah.
I like that. Because if you love me as I am, then I'm really forced almost to love myself as I am.
That's beautiful.
And how many times in a relationship have we not quite loved the other person for who they were? And that can only be a reflection of us not loving ourselves exactly as the way we are. So if we can love ourselves exactly the way we are and love the other person in our life or the other persons in our life exactly the way they are, it feels like we ought to be able to create some freedom and some expansion and some adventure and all kinds of wonderful things can come out of that. If the energy isn't bogged down into storytelling, where does it want to go? What wants to happen from that space?